Oh, we're back. We're back. We're back. I'm laughing because I was about to say, everyone, welcome back to Namaste Rich episode. And I forgot what episode number it is. I believe it's 19, if I'm not mistaken. Great to see you, beautiful people listening. And great to see you, beautiful person, Kedge.
Man, good to see you, man. I know we didn't record last week, so it feels like a long time since I've seen you compared to normal, man. So really good to see you, man.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
too, man.
nah. And actually, yeah, since we last spoke as well, I had someone message me as well, like a couple of people that wouldn't have even expected that would be like listening to it on a somewhat regular basis. And I was like, oh, that's nice. That's cool, you know. So
Oh, that's great,
and it's
man.
because I think a lot of what we do is like kind of been through like I think probably majority would be your community. I think I don't know that's been listening to it, but a couple of people from like the investor mate community that I didn't know about, like like man, they've been like tuning in and listening, so which is pretty cool. So
That's lovely, man. Better be in our best behavior then. Man,
oh
man, I know you went through a bit of a challenging week last week. I don't know the details of it, sincerely.
yeah.
How are you? What
Yeah, I'm
happened?
okay, man. I think just last week the reason we didn't record yet, it's got knocked around with a few unexpected things that just had to deal with urgently. And the biggest one, I think I touched on it on like a previous episode, is we're setting up like one of these franchises, the Joy in Movement, like the infrared heated in like studio workout kind of things.
Yeah.
Um I guess first time doing something like this, and we, I guess, signed a lease on a specific space. I don't know how much we spent, somewhere between 30 to 40 grand been spent now on like all these things, council approvals, bushfire reports, architects, lawyers, all these things that you've got to go through to kind of do this stuff. And somewhere along the way just got missed that we also, because of mixed use development, we also had to get strata approval, like, the owner's corporation of the building. Um, so through the legal process that we went through, like we checked all these things and it was the other side's legal said we don't need it, blah, 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 and whatever. So obviously just ran with that. And the reality is, like, if things do go south, obviously we can sue them, get money back, but that's also, a mess around. And we're just going full steam ahead trying to launch this thing. And Gaia is doing a lot of heavy lifting at the moment. So whenever Kyra is sleeping, Kyra, my baby, is sleeping, like she's working, and then so we're all working quite hard to get this thing going. So obviously the money hurts too, but it's also the lot of time and energy that's gone into it. And ultimately, so we have to get this form signed by Strata to approve us to change this space, the use of the space, and gone through every single avenue to try and get this document signed. But we now, like, long story short, now I need to wait till September 23rd for the Strata committee to meet. I've got myself invited to that meeting to make myself available to kind of talk through it and explain things, but that's almost a month away now. So that's kind of put a roadblock on things. And I guess there's that small bit of fear. There's no reason why they should say no, but there's a fear. What if they do say no to it? Then it's like, we then have to go find another site. So we just pretty much was exploring all avenues in terms of what can be done. That's kind of where I got stuck last week. But really, yeah, now it's just going through the human element, kind of spoke to the Strata manager, got ourselves invited to the meeting. So now just doing all the human stuff possible to get it approved, and hopefully we can be underway. So once that's done, then we'll start the fit out process, and hopefully within 2-3 months we can still open. If we can't, I've made my peace with that as well. And it's just been a learning experience, and we're doing another site as well in Dapto. But
That's funny.
but it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, yeah, it's just, yeah. And it's just been a time of just felt like problems. And then, yeah, I think I mentioned it before as well. I've been dealing for a long time with this insurance issue on one of my investment properties. So that's still ongoing. So I'm dealing with that. And, these probably people listening, some people are dealing, yeah, whatever, it's a luxurious problems to have, but, I guess, but, yeah, man. And then anyway, that's kind of what's been happening. But if I spoke to you last week, I was full spiraling, but kind of snapped myself out of it. And now it's just in action mode and what can be done and acceptance of whatever the outcome is going to be. And just, it is what it is,
Man, that's just magnificent, man. That's
Is it?
cool. I'm happy. I'm grateful that people listening get an exposure to what happens behind the scenes with these things, because this actually sounds normal, ironically enough, that It's not all peaches. Like, it's not like this walk in the park to like get a gym set up. There's surely a whole bunch of unexpected shit that happens along the way that you got to navigate that we never usually hear about.
Yeah, man. And I think, and it's a reminder, and it's like, none of these, I think a lot of people see the end product. So if, obviously if no one knew about this stuff, all goes well, eventually we open up and it starts good, but there's so much that goes into these kinds of things. And as you kind of level up and doing other things, there's so much, as there's so much fuckery involved with and this whole tall poppy syndrome stuff that people have. It's like, people don't just, they don't just wake up and land on there's so much things that happen behind the scenes to go do it. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame where people try and like knock people that are doing well, because like, man, it was, for the most part, it wasn't easy, to get there.
Bless you, man. That was a really lovely share. Man, I have a few things I wanted to ask you about, actually, which somewhat related, somewhat separate.
Yeah,
if that's okay. Unless you wanna...
jump in.
Man, this is going to sound unrelated, but there's something that you said that made me think of this. Bro, how do you deal with speaking up for your needs and your boundaries and what you believe is fair, let's say in a business relationship? And the reason I ask this is because I know people who who give a lot, which I think you and I can relate to, give a lot, and struggle to and sometimes can find themselves in relationships where the person that they're in a relationship with is struggling to give. They don't seem to be as good as giving back. And I can use myself as an example. I can't say the name, obviously, of the person I'm referring to, but like, there was a relationship that I was in, intimate relationship, where that person, by their own admission, knew that they were kind of had a propensity to be selfish and a propensity to be a very healthy receiver. Like, you could see it. Like, they're really good at just bro. Let me give you a real quick example, and I actually think this would relate very gorgeously to a lot of people listening, bro. There's this girl that we have a good mutual friend who I think you know I'm referring to. It's a mutual friend of all them. This person opened up a gym. She opened up a gym, right? Kind of what you're talking. Funnily enough, yeah, right. She opened up a gym. This girl that I'm referring to is an absolute bitch, right? Not the one that you know. This is just a mutual friend. She's a little bitch, and she's so selfish, right? Like, anyone who knows her knows she's selfish. Not just me, but like, she's so it's almost like this. They're missing a piece in their brain that knows how to be considerate of others. And so here's my evidence, because our mutual friend told me about her, but then I saw it firsthand. When I walked into this girl's gym, like, she messaged me and said, "Dim, I just opened up a new gym in Norwest. Come visit it." Right? When I walked in, and I'm like, the gym holds a real special place in my heart. Like, I'm not really the right demographic for example, the infrared, like your gym, right? Like, because I'm like, it's such a personal connection. It's my mental health. Like, there's a whole long ass backstory about why I'm passionate about the gym. Anyway, it's community, it's mental health, it's a lot of things, and I know those people in my gym very well. I'm quite entrenched into my gym, so that's the setup. So I go into this girl's new gym, and I really did that because she sent me a message, and I just wanted to show the love, say hello, just say, hey, I'm going to come by and see you. And she was just there by herself. I think it was Friday at 7 p.m. No one else obviously there. She's just there working. And so I thought it was a very sweet gesture of me to go and say hi to this bitch. Anyway, she goes, "Oh, Dim, why don't you leave your gym and come here?" But she really meant it, Kedge. Like, it just kind of came out of nowhere, and I was looking around because I go, "Oh, let me have it. What a beautiful," I'm just trying to be nice, man. I'm just like, "What a beautiful gym," and there's a sign on it, on the wall. It said, "No grunting allowed." So that was the culture of that gym. They don't want gym bros, which is beautiful because you have to niche. So it's beautiful. And I said, wow. And I even jokingly said, like, "Oh, wow. I guess this is not really a gym for me. No grunting allowed. And then she goes, no, Jim, why don't you join this gym? And I was like, oh, like, I'm really happy with my gym, and also no grunting allowed, you know. And then she goes, Joe, we'll take that sign down. Why don't you join? And I was like, for me, I was like, I don't think I know how to be that way, Kedge, in terms of like, going, hey, how like, I don't know what the gym means to you. I don't know what because everyone has their own meaningful places, and I don't know how to just completely bar out and, in my perception, have zero empathy for someone else's thing and just say, hey, here's my request, you know. And I've encountered someone else on my journey that can do who does this, and he was one of the few people that asked me for a discount for my coaching thing. This is a while ago, even though this guy would never give a discount to anyone else. He asked me for a discount, and then much later on, because this, you know, like much later on, once he had done really well and blah blah blah, he he was just like, oh, well, I guess if you don't ask, you don't know. If you don't ask, you don't know, right? You don't ask, you don't know, right? And then I said to him, I got to ask you, man, have you thought about how it might make me feel when you ask? In that, like, have you thought about all the stuff I've done for you? Because even towards a later junction, he was asking me for a discount, and then I pulled him up on it. And then I said, bro, have you thought about all the times where I've gone above and beyond for you? Do you even consider that before you just think, oh, let me get another favor out of Dim and let me ask for a discount? You know? And so that's that was a bit of a long contextual story. But my question is this, Kej, like like, let's say you were in a business relationship with someone like that, and whenever you struggle to ask for your requirements, let's say that person is inherently stingy for the sake of it, they don't like giving. How do you deal with that, Kedge?
Interesting. It's very and probably not too dissimilar to how you would deal with it. I guess I wouldn't shy away from the conversation, but would do it like in a very, like, yeah, even and fully not related, as you mentioned, even the strata stuff and whatever that I'm dealing with, but just like humanizing the process, right? Like creating an environment, can sit down with this person, like share, trying to get them to empathize with my situation, you know, share, and just trying to get them to see it as in people like, but it's really, I'm speaking very, very like generically here, because I guess every situation is going to be different, but that's what I'll try to do. But really, if that didn't work, then that person is probably not, as in, there might be situations where you kind of have to do stuff, but like ideally then that sounds like that gym person is not the right person, you know, so it's an easy situation, you just don't do it. And with this person that you're talking about with the discount, I think once I guess with some people, I guess get them to empathize, and if not, eventually, I guess you got to kind of go back at them with the same kind of energy if that doesn't work, and just kind of be firm with them. Is probably, and I think where I lack is sometimes I lack that firmness as well. So I kind of, in a similar sense, in different business situations, I try and empathize, get them to see it. But then some people just don't. There's definitely some people that are out there just to take advantage, you know. So, and I think when you kind of identify that's the situation, like I think sometimes they also respect that firmness and authority, but that's something that I just need to personally work on, I think, as well.
Man, thank you. That was a real magnificent. Because because I have to be careful what I say because this is a public thing, right? But
yeah,
I asked you that question because sometimes I get clients who are dealing with what I'm referring to.
sure,
So there's a few layers here, actually. Like,
yeah,
I've personally gone through this, you know, as I said, with my ex-girlfriend, you know, like she was like that. And then I had to really learn basically what you just said, which is just like, number one, try to humanize the process, trying to get them to have empathy. Number two, having the firmness, you know. So I feel like I'm at a point now where I'm good at that.
Mm.
but then number 3, which is what I think you said, which is like you also kind of get a sense, okay, if this person is just lacking that empathy bone or whatever, maybe it's not the type of person I want to do business with. Did I say that right so far? Is that kind of your stance on it in your experience?
Yeah, for sure, man. And it's funny because we had a similar situation like yesterday. This different. It's like similar. We're trying to get a new client on board, but it felt like they were taking us for a ride. But like, and Manny, like business partner, he's good at this, man. He's just like, don't need to work. It's someone like that, honestly. Like, I respectfully, I think you should take your business elsewhere, and just like, and I struggle to do that. I really struggle to do that. And this is in like currently a tougher environment, harder to get new clients at the moment because of, we can touch on it later, but it's a tougher environment at the moment. But he's got the confidence to know that dealing with someone like that is going to suck more energy out of us than not. So just cut the cord after doing all those other steps. And I was very impressed watching that happen,
That's awesome. That's mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you know as well, it's hard, right? Because sometimes like, especially when you feel like you need clients, it's sometimes hard to still do that. And I don't know how you feel. Yeah, I don't know how you go.
Nah, well, yeah, I've been on both. I've been on both.
Yeah.
I've been on both. I think it really does help to have fuck you money. That is a bit of it's a genuine,
of course.
Yeah. It's a genuine, I mean, I'm not saying that that's Manny's hack. I think Manny would have done.
And it's not that, right? At the moment, we're thinking about how we're going to get creative to get more clients and all these other things. So it's like, definitely that's not the position we're in, but still, even when you don't have the fuck you money, I guess, like knowing to do that because you still be better off. And I think in that situation, it can be, that's when it's hard to do, but
Yeah, bro, I've got to tell you, man, I struggle with that myself in that, here's how I struggle with that, man. Like sometimes Kedge, like, because, thank God, like I got a lot of long-term clients now. So lucky that continue, like, so there's a real good base of existing at the moment. So sometimes, Kedge, what happens with me, and if you have any guidance on this, sincerely, man, I'd love it. What happens with me, man, is like when I'm doing a sales call, or like we're doing a sales process, and someone's kind of pissing me off. I feel like I have something to work on here, man. Because it's kind of like if someone's pissing me off, I have a temptation to say, well, fuck you. I don't like, if you, basically my irrational thing in my mind is if you can't see my value, then you can get fucked, which is not good because to me, if you were in that situation, I think you wouldn't get personally triggered, because if you listen to what I just said, I'm basically getting personally triggered that this guy is not recognizing my value and he's giving me a hard time. But your perspective, I think, would be, it's got nothing to do, you're not taking it personally at all. It's just like you're helping that person through the sales process. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think so I'm on the other end of the spectrum, whereas I'm probably too, I guess I can take that and it doesn't bother me, and I'll see if I can show them value, whatever, whatever it needs to be. But I can take it too far and I can get taken advantage of, right? Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I probably should say, you can't see my value, piss off, So I've got my own stuff to work on because I definitely allow myself to get taken on that ride. So for sure. Yeah.
Love you, man. Love you, man. We all got a bit of inner work to do, I think.
yeah, for sure, man. And so because I think once again, Manny's more like you. He would just be like, "You can't see my value. All right, man, don't worry about it." Kind of like that. And then I had this conversation with him yesterday, funnily enough, and I was just like, "Man, if you're seeing red, like just don't respond. Like I'll jump in and have that conversation, but then I'll probably get taken advantage of, whatever. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out." But.
Oh, it's good to have a good laugh, man. It's good to have a good laugh. That's great to hear that, man.
Oh, man, yeah.
If you can't see my value, piss off. Isn't that what we all want to say?
Yeah. Oh.
No, I'm here, man. I'm
Are you
here.
there? Oh, I
I'm
think,
just,
sorry, you're
yeah, I'm
frozen
just
on my
laughing.
screen. So yeah,
No,
but now you're back.
no,
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
I just, oh man.
Oh man. But
So,
tell me,
so
man, what else has
please.
been going on with you, man?
Okay. Well, honest on the real, man. Okay, so I'm still having a bit of a cough, but I basically, dude, was sick for like the larger part of 1 month.
Mm.
Um, and which is demoralizing, but whatever. Like, I just did my best to, um, because we got to work. For me, meetings are typically kind of taxing on my energy.
Mm.
Also, for me, man, I got to record a lot of videos, and pretty much I got recorded no videos during that time. And so, kind of like my ads and my content was like lagging for a while, bro. But one really sweet thing, man, was like, um, I was spending a lot of extra time just like resting in bed because my health wasn't 100%.
Mm.
And what was actually magnificent was I was just had to kind of think, okay, what else can I do productively with this time? And like I kind of lent in to my one of my staff members, like what her work was, because I was having some issues and frustrations with her because I felt like she was dropping the ball. But then I kind of realized, man, like how much of the process was not defined at all. Like I feel like I've heard this as an Alex Hormozy quote. It's just like if you uh if your staff keep fucking up, like first look at is the process set up for them to fail, or is just the process so easy that it's easy for them to succeed? And so, man, honestly, my process was not good.
Mm.
And I just even I was reflecting on my own instructions to her, and
Mm.
I realized my instructions in themselves were vague. So and so actually it led me to lean in and really apply my mind to the problem and what specifically the content production, bro. Just in that time I discovered a way to generate like 200, like more than 200 really high quality pieces of content with the stuff that we already had,
Amazing.
because we have like so much long form footage recorded of the retreats and this and that. And it was actually just me thinking about, because at the end of the day, I can't speak for anyone else's business, but I can, from my own humble experience, your staff members are not going to be as invested in the business as you are as the founder.
Mm. Mm.
I think that's not an unreasonable statement to make.
Of course.
And so and I think what has happened with me is I was taking, I had delegated that area to her, and I was kind of taking this broader view of things, and I was doing a good job of the broader view. But actually, I kind of had to realize, like, I had to lean in again into that column, into that vertical, and put my level of attention and mind and whatever into that. And when I did, and because to be fair, I have a lot more experience than she does, to be fair, right? And
Mm.
that's why she's in, I guess you could say, a more junior position, to be fair to her, right? Like, and so when I applied my wisdom and expertise, it was like, dude, we can here's how we're going to do it. We get all this stuff, and then we got to categorize, and then we can compile it, and it's all sorted that
Mm.
way, and then we can feed this stuff into we get the transcript. We can, then that's easy now you can feed the transcript into Claude. Let me set up this Claude project, which has the ICP. So then now Claude is going to give us the editing instructions, and now we can just take that, feed that all into Descript or into Riverside, and then Riverside will produce it for us, and it did. And then and then I actually created a proper like factory style assembly line.
Mm.
And actually, like, to be fair, now that I'm talking about it, it probably was a bit of a unreasonable ask to expect, my staff member to do all of that, with the time that she has. It's like a
But
complete
to give
paradigm
like
difference.
it's a easy mistake to make, right? Because you've got so much going on. So when you hire someone to do something, you've in your mind you've delegated that work out, so you can focus your energy elsewhere, right? So it's like I fully get it, fully get it, but I also understand. Yeah, I understand how easy it is to get into that trap for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And there's a few things that just I thought of when you said that, but yeah, man. So it actually, the sickness actually kind of worked out. Like it, I actually thought to myself, dude, I feel like I've had the two. I hate to say this because it sounds like I'm just saying it because it's a nice quote, but it actually genuinely actually felt like I had the two most productive weeks of the whole year over those 2 weeks while I was sick, bro.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, bro, now it's cool, man. Now that I'm better, I actually, yeah, got the help of a marketing agency now, for my ads. And bro, it seems like they're working, which is really
Nice.
nice because now I'm just getting people like booking into my calendar, which is pretty amazing.
Awesome.
And yeah, and having kind of, I guess, more cold bookings into your calendar, as opposed to me going like to speaking to people who've already been following me for a while and kind of are just now emerging as ready to buy. Like
Mm.
that is a bit of a different style of sales, you know. And
Yeah.
I basically had to really, I've been learning the hard way by losing a
Mm.
bunch of sales, which is fine, man. It doesn't really affect me, you know, thank God. But like, um, you know, again, like, you know, that's why I'm another thing I wanted to talk to you about, man, you know, because I had like this, even today, I had like a 1.5 hour sales call with this dude. And I really was very sad that he didn't sign up. And mostly I was just upset with myself that in 1.5 hours, like I was like, I'm like, dude, this guy needs it so much. Like it would help
Mm.
him so much, and not just emotionally and whatever. It'll help him make a buttload of money, and it'll probably really help his like relationship, like his family life. It'll help so much. And to see him just in front of my own eyes get in his own way and then
Mm.
just have to run off to a meeting, you know,
Mm.
basically um he gave me a combination of a wife objection, a time objection, and a money
Sure.
objection. You know,
Sure. Sure. Sure.
it was just I need to talk to my wife. I even though I know he's financially qualified, it was I need to talk to my wife and he's like the price. Apparently he's done a lot of irresponsible spending in the past, and so and his wife makes double the money that he does now, and he's done some bullshit now. So it's like he needs to talk to his wife, and then his wife's in charge of the finances now, and then he ran out of time because he's got a meeting. So it was a to be fair, it was a bit of tough going, but I don't know, man. I don't. How, do you have any thoughts on that, man? You know, like sales is it's a journey, man.
Yeah, man. First, yeah, it's hard to give any specific feedback on the actual situation because once again, it's typically, as you know, those objections probably aren't even real for the most part. You know, like it's just his way to exit. So somewhere along the way, but it's hard. But and I don't know what it is, but for me now, after obviously similar to you though, after doing it for a long time, for me, like I just do the best that I can in every single one that I can, but then it doesn't bother me, and I actually don't get as excited for as for the ones that even end up signing up, but the ones that don't, I actually don't beat myself up because I know that I did everything that I could to help this person, guide them, provide. Because I know that everything I do is to provide value. So, and I don't know how, somehow that's embodied. And like, I just let it go, you know? Sometimes once in a while, it might take a little bit longer, 10 minutes or whatever. But for the most part, it doesn't bother me, you know? It just,
That's good, man.
it's like, yeah, I guess we're here to provide value. We're not trying to sell shit. We're not just trying to shove something down someone's throat. Um, so yeah, if they can't see it, yeah, I guess that's all you can do. All you can do is the best that you can, and just try not to take that energy into the next call, you know, and try not to overanalyze it as well. Because I think after this long of doing it, and even for you as well, I know you're saying you're learning, but I feel like you probably got it down pat, your process and how you do things. So, because what I find is people try and over tweak it. They have one call and then they're like, "Oh, I could have done this better, done this," and then they just overthink it, over tweak it. Like, it's better just to be like 90% of the way. You kind of know what you're doing, and you just got to run that process. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. Just and then part of it is just a numbers game, you know. So
Thank you, man. I unless you wanted to take this conversation elsewhere, I would love to spend the next like 10 minutes hearing your advice on sales because
oof.
you're like to me, you're like the master of it. Number 1. Number two, you really are. Like, number two, I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast are in sales or up and coming in sales or do sales as part of their job. I would, and I hope I don't fail people by asking the worst questions, but man, can I ask, like, okay, let's say, like, there's different types of sales, right?
Sure.
So let's say we're talking. So would you classify what you do, Kedge, as high ticket sales? Like, I mean, in your transactions, or what would you call that?
I, I guess
It
the
is
cost
B
of the
to
product.
C, but mm,
Yeah, I guess I've never labeled it that way, but I guess like a lot of people, a lot of people are coming to us from referrals, but then the actual product that we sell, as in the service that we offer, yeah, like you're paying, it costs 15 grand plus GST, so 16 and a half grand. So it's not cheap, but great value. So yeah, I guess you could label it that way, but just for simplicity's sake, let's call it high ticket sales. Sure.
well, maybe we can start here.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Kedge, like, what is the advice that you wish people who are in B2C sales, like this or like my sales, like, or people like, let's say we got a couple of scenarios. One person is someone like me who sells like stuff for their own business, right?
Okay.
Around that $5,000 to $10,000 mark. Say, another scenario is someone who, let's say, they have a tutoring business and they charge like $1,000 per kid for like a 10-week tutoring program. And let's say there's another scenario, which is a buyer's agent, right? I would love to hear, maybe first question, like, what is the advice that you wish people knew about sales?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna give a very interesting piece of advice which you probably don't hear. All right. So what my observation is, where things have changed a lot over the last little period, I think a lot of stuff prior to last few years, like a lot of ads, like even right now, ads can still work, right? But we've gone very, very old school in terms of how to grow the business, because people have kind of, so even though a lot of the business is B2C, like, but who hold these clients? They're like, so for example, for us, a lot of our clients are held by brokers, accountants, and other places. So these days, I feel like people need a lot more social proof to act. And you can build that social proof through a lot of things like what you do, Instagram, a lot of content, people see stuff. And as you kind of touched on before, it takes them a long time to then act. But by the time they even come to you for that sales call, the trust is already there to a certain level of degrees, different to that lead gen kind of client. So where I'm going with that is we've made it's very old school and laborious in a different way, but we're calling and connecting and having coffees and stuff with all these different brokers and things like that to show them the value of what we do. And so that's the social proof. And once they come to us, because even though it's a high ticket product, it's actually not a tough sell after that point, because we've kind of done the sell to I guess the referrer, and we've been doing cold calls, connecting with people over the last 2 weeks, the number of dinners and lunches and coffees that we've done, connecting with new partners and existing partners. And I know this is not the question that you're asking, but I'm just coming and saying it. I think it's because I think for me, it feels like things are flipped, because the ads thing, everyone's done now, and it feels very saturated. And it feels like old school is now the new school again, and like going and doing it this way, because this is what people used to do 10 years ago. And when I first started selling, and then it kind of changed to this. But I think because I don't think a lot of people are doing what we're doing and making that kind of effort anymore. So it's actually quite refreshing. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that is magnificent, and it sounds completely congruent to how things go. You know, the pendulum swings one way
Yeah,
until it gets saturated, and then when it gets saturated, it's actually quite refreshing to have it from the other way. You know, so
yeah,
it makes plenty of sense, man. I think a lot of people who are listening to this, some of them feel almost a sense of fear at the thought of reaching out to referrers, because whether you want to call it imposter syndrome, fear of rejection or whatever. Could you
Mm.
speak to that, man?
Yeah, and man, we all have that, and man, it still surfaces from time to time with us as well. But with anything, man, I think like even some of the pickup stuff you touched on in the past, like it's a numbers game. Like, you know, like you just got to do it. You just got to do the reps, do the calls, do the coffees, like do the 10 coffees and get, you know, 9 of them don't turn into anything, but the one does. And it's just like, I feel like it's a lot simpler than, because I think people sometimes, and there is tactics involved too, tactics, techniques, whatever you want to call them. But I actually feel like that's not the problem for most people. I feel like people sometimes over-engineer that side of things, because naturally, once you know 50% of it, they all kind of have a similar flow. But these days, it's just about being authentic, showing value, connecting with people, you know. And if what you're offering is even remotely good, like you can demonstrate value in those things, and there's going to be people that see that. But I think a lot of it is just the human connection, meeting, numbers game. And I think that part of it is probably forgotten. So when you have that kind of, I don't know what as in, other than like finding the courage to do it, you just got to do it. Like that's all I could really say.
Can I ask you a follow up on that, man?
Yeah, go for it.
So, bro, what I'm just thinking about people who want to apply this strategy.
Yeah.
What would be in it for the broker? I think I already know the answer, but
Yeah, I'll
what
share
would,
it. Like, as in, so really, it's
yeah.
like, it's for us anyway. It's next, like they obviously write loans for clients. Their clients actually potentially need this service. So a lot of people, when they're trying to buy a place, once they kind of get their pre-approval, some people don't ever end up acting. Some people take like, I think it's like on average 9 months to then buy a house. So one, there is a financial incentive for the broker, because if they buy a house, then they will write the loan, right? But beyond that, because that's the obvious financial incentive, beyond that, by referring us, and we do an exceptional service for them, their home grows in value, do an exceptional job, that makes them look good, right? Then they get more clients from other friends that tell them about it. Then that client comes back and for a refinance and whatever, right? So, so that's the value, right? So you're actually showing that client value by recommending someone that you think's going to do a great job for them. That makes them look good, and it results in future business for them as well.
I actually think I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but I think for someone struggling with that, I actually think that's a very, very lovely answer. Because to me, and if I can offer something, if for people listening, a practical way to apply this, even though Kedge was quite practical.
Yeah.
To me, what Kedge just articulated was he understands quite well the value to the broker for Kedge to have a conversation with the broker. So therefore, it doesn't feel that hard for Kedge to approach that broker and speak to them, because he understands how the broker could benefit from speaking to Kedge. And that's different from coming from a frame of, I need a favor, I have nothing to give you, but I need a favor. You know, because I think that's the underpinning psychology of a lot of people who, including myself, in terms of like when we struggle to ask for something, it's because we don't feel like we have anything to give in return. So some people have that. But you know, this reminds me of something a great mentor, ironically, the pickup mentor said to me. He goes, Dim, for all your ideal customers, you need to write down you have to understand exactly what they've been trying in the past, how much pain they're in, and all their failures, and all the cost to them of the fact that they haven't figured out this problem yet. And then map out how them not figuring out this problem, how is it going to cost them in the future if they don't figure it out? And he made me do like quite an extensive exercise to map out all of like the how if the boys don't receive what I do, how it actually negatively will affect them, how it's already and how it will continue to. And then when he made me do that, as a result, number one, it really changed the way that I communicated in terms of marketing and stuff, because it made it a lot more powerful, because it was real, because I had done the deep work. And then number two, it made me a lot more confident in approaching like my target market, because I started to view what I did, I started to view the act of approaching as a true service to
Mm.
people, as opposed to just like, oh, it's just about me and me taking. So yeah, that's what I got from
No,
your
and
answer.
100%. And no, and I fully relate because whenever I go to these coffees or catch ups or lunches, like, man, the whole time we're adding value to these brokers, and not just for their clients, but even they're learning stuff that they didn't know before. Like they're seeing stuff like even like right now, the market is a lot tougher, right? As in, we don't need to go into it today, but even everyone's business is quietened down. Brokers, buyers, agents. If you speak to every broker out there, everyone is like, man, it's like business is cut in half, So everyone's caught in this spiral and whatever. But man, by educating them, they're getting energized on the back of it. They got stuff to go back and tell their clients, and so it's like giving value to them. They're getting they're getting excited again. They got information to go give back to their clients, and it starts conversations and things that are going. And I truly believe that. So we're not just going out and just being like, "Oh, give us your business." Like, how can we add value to you? What are your clients asking? What do they need? We'll drum up reports for them. Whatever. Like, what that they need as well. So we're actually adding value to them too. So
That's
um,
fantastic, man.
and I'm sure, as in, I guess every business is different, but yeah, how can you apply those similar philosophies? Like, I know you touched on, like, yeah, you mentioned one, someone's a tutoring, someone was, I can't remember all the ones you
Similar to
said, but it's
me,
just like,
let's say, yeah.
but then I guess it's
It's a
thinking about who holds your clients, like who holds your clients, how can you approach them, how can you add value? Because it's going to be a bit different, but I'm sure there's a way to do that,
That's really great, man.
Yeah.
And I'd love to ask a bit of a separate question now,
Yeah.
unless you wanted to say anything about sales that you feel people need to hear.
No, that's good.
Man, it's kind of back to that earlier vein on that person that I mentioned who struggles to speak up for their needs and what they want.
Hmm.
That conversation we had.
Yeah.
So, so when I was helping him through that, one of the things that he mentioned was that, well, he's scared that, okay, let's say you're trying to sort something out with your business partner, Ketch, right? So he was basically saying he's scared that if he speaks up for his needs, the other business partner will have a hissy fit, and then go, well, fuck you, like I don't want to work with you anymore, you're out, something like that. Basically, he was scared of that, and I had my lens on how to help him through that, which is what I did. But I'd love to hear, like, how what's your mentality on, because one of the things I said to him, this is not like the actual work I did with him, but one of the things I said to him was, dude, do you think if you had a bunch of fuck you money, would that make the fear go away? And initially he goes, yeah. If I had the money, like in the background, like, then I wouldn't go hungry, like that, then I'll be fine. And then I said, but would you really? Because let's say you were even financially free. Like, even then, if you knew that you had put so much blood, sweat, and tears into helping build something that you feel you're not completely remunerated for, and you can also see this incredible upside where you believe you're going to stand to make millions and millions of dollars, do you think just because you have a house paid off, do you think you wouldn't feel fear? And then he actually was like, nah, you're right. Like, I would still feel afraid because there's other perceived loss that's happening there. So, bro, my question to you is, like, how would you help someone in that situation who's afraid of having those tough conversations because of what they perceive they might lose?
So many layers to this. First, I'll use a personal example. One of them, yeah, man, is like some of this stuff is like deep. So even for me, a lot of this stuff I had even before I worked with you, like I think the first time it was, and it was just like, which I didn't really know that I had, but I had a deep rooted fear of rejection, right? So even you asked me the question about going out and doing these calls or meeting these people, it's like when they don't transact. It's like it hurts deeper than it should, and it's like, but that's like something that we worked on together, and that's something that I had, which I didn't know from, I don't know, like primary school or something, and had to, so this, man. So once again, Tim, I know I never give straight answers because there's never like a direct answer. There's so many different things that it could be, but for me initially it was there was some inner work that had to be done to, I guess, clear that, first. Oh gosh.
Anything you want to say? Anything you want to speak on in terms of what you realized in your own personal journey of that inner work that helped you get over that fear of rejection?
Yeah, I feel like we're lagging a little bit, but I got what you just said.
Yeah, I think it'll catch up.
Yeah. So, man, for me, like, it was just no, as going back, and I think we did like a few different things, but one of the things we did was that timeline therapy. And at that time, when those things happened when I was young or in primary school, like that would have felt really big for me at that time. But zooming in and having a look at it, it was relatively minor. So I had put so much energy towards that, and that's just kind of built, I guess, whatever. It's just kind of framed who I became inside. And once I was able to work through that and just realized, I guess, how much of it, quote unquote, not a big deal it is, like, things became easier. Man, I'm struggling to talk, so I guess you're frozen, so it feels like I'm talking to
I
myself.
understand. But actually, ironically, on my side, you're coming through crystal clear.
Okay.
But I understand, Kedge, I understand. But yeah, I think basically the point you were saying was you kind of came to realize through looking at your a childhood memory of where you were afraid of rejection, which is kind of a fractal pattern. It's kind of like a mini version of what's happening in the current day, because it's like what happened when we're kids is almost like a little fractal, and what we're happening now is just a bigger version of that. And so it's kind of like you realized through that early childhood memory, actually, maybe I was just catastrophizing. It's actually not that big a deal, and I'm going to be fine either way. It sounds to me like that's kind of the insights that you got from that helped you.
No, exactly, right. And it's like, and because like, why does some things bother people so much and it doesn't others? And I think usually it's something like that. So that would be my first piece of advice, like, because I guess there's no point building on top of a bad foundation, right? And this stuff is kind of what our foundations are. So if we can figure those things out first, then after that we can talk about tactics and other things. But I think as a starting point, like trying to figure out if there's any inner workings that need to be touched on.
Bro, that's super cool. And I know we're almost at time. And I know that I asked a lot of questions of you, man. Is there anything that you kind of felt compelled to speak about today that we didn't cover yet?
No, man, I think we covered a lot of different things, man. So nothing that I feel compelled to say.
That's cool, bro. I'll tell you what I did with that person to help him with this, in addition to the timeline stuff, the inner work, I did something which I think people who are listening can do at home. I just helped him explore failure. I actually just helped him just actually map out, if all goes to shit, what would what is it that you're so scared of that could happen? And we just lent in. And then he looked at actually what it would look like if his business partners do say fuck you to him and he gets left for dead and whatever, and not appreciated for his contributions and whatever. And he actually stopped being so afraid because he realized it's not that bad. And something that, I'll just quickly say, Kedge, that has helped me, and I wonder if you can relate to this or you have your own version of this. Something that really helped me, Kedge, was like, I feel like I've been reduced to zero a couple of times in my life. And this is ironically a story I feel like I hear from a lot of like millionaires and people of that stature and influencers and stuff who really made it big. They speak about being at rock bottom and not needing much as a result. And see, because to me, man, I think one thing that was incredibly liberating experience was because when I was in the army, you literally just get used to sleeping in the dirt on the ground. Like you literally have a backpack which has your little sleeping bag and tent and stuff. So it's like I learned how to sleep on the ground, you know, and didn't need a house, and so and then because I was in the infantry for 2 years and then I was in the armored corps. So when you're in the armored corps, you don't have to sleep on the ground, which can be very wet and muddy and stuff and terrible, and mosquitoes. You can sleep in the car or the armored vehicle. So then I was like, I feel like because my baseline got set to like, okay, even if I don't have a house, I can just sleep in my car, and I said to him, even in my session, I was like, bro, if all I had was my car and my laptop, I will rebuild everything back. I just need my laptop, I need my laptop and I need my car so I can sleep, and it'll be warm. Then I will, because I feel like that's the places I've been, Kedge. Here's a story that I don't think even you know. I don't think I've said this story to anyone, Kedge. After my fiance and I broke up, like there was like um, I think there was like a day or two when my parents didn't know, or I can't remember exactly what happened, but basically, a dude from Queensland was like a friend of mine flying in to come visit me, and he was going to be in the eastern suburbs, right? And he would only do super early in the morning, and my parents' house obviously way in the west, and I used to live in Milson's Point, which is in the east. So, bro, what I did, no one knows this, man, but I had broken up with my ex fiance. I literally just took my car, drove it into the apartment parking, and I just slept in the apartment parking overnight, and it's almost like I was like homeless for one night, it was just like my parents didn't know what had happened to me. They thought that I was with my fiance thought that I was with my parents, but I didn't really feel like I had a home to go to in that moment. And I was like, I'll be okay, man. I will just sleep in my car in this, and I think I did that for like 2 nights, dude, for some reason. I can't remember what. But I literally was like, rolled the window down a little bit so there was enough air, and like, put like a little bit sleeping, because basically if another car comes down how it's like multi-layered, like think of like a Meriton car park, how it's like that concrete car park that's multi-layered. So the lights automatically turn off after a certain time, but they turn back on when another car comes. So I think I had put a sleeping mask on, and I was just sleeping in there. And the air quality wasn't great, I remember. And I remember just like knowing, okay, if I need to go to the toilet, like here's my plan. Like I can go to ground floor, and then from ground floor I'm able to go through this door to go into the, like, because there was a gym and a pool, so that's where I went to the toilet. And it's like yeah, man, it's, and then, bro, actually, ironically, this was probably like a trauma response. I know we're over time, so I'll be quiet soon. But,
Thanks for sharing.
I think this, yeah, of course, man. Like, of course, man. Like, I think, like, bro, you know what's funny? Like, so when me and so then I went back to sleeping on my parents' couch for a bit, because they had redone my room and I didn't even want to be in there. And I preferred the couch. And then I knew very well, after, like, I have to get out of here because I can't grow my business and whatever. I can't do what I need to do while I'm in my parents' house. So I was sleeping on the couch for 1 month, and then I started to go to house inspections, and I found this place, which I believe you were there, in the St. Leonard's Place on the 10th floor.
Yeah.
And then and I think you even remember my mattress was on the floor. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. Yeah. The only room that was set up in that apartment was my office space, ironically. That had a desk and a nice, that was set up because I think it was just a reflection of my values, I guess. Like, okay, I need to focus on work and stuff. But everything else, like, that for those 2 years I was in Sydney before I moved to Bali, or more, I believe it was 2, I can't remember. I never even bought a bed frame, and I never even I had like these 2 chairs mostly for my friend, but mostly I just sat on the ground. And I think it was because like I almost felt like I didn't need it. Like I was actually more comfortable just being on the ground with, I guess, what I guess looking back, this is kind of sad to say, but it is what it is. I think being on the ground, sleeping on the ground, having, instead of having chairs, having cushions that I sat on the ground, it gave me a sense of security when it felt like my whole world was gone. My fiance was gone, my business was gone, my suburb was gone, my gym was gone, everything was gone. And I think I just went back to like that army thing of just starting on the ground again, and yeah, so everything else. Now I'm in this nice ass place and shit, and it's just like it's it's
Oof.
funny, man. Like I actually feel more safer being on the ground, So I'm up here because it's good for your mental health to have it. I can see I'm in the middle of Bali, bro, in Ubud. I can see all the way to the motherfucking ocean from here. That's how like elevated this is. It's so beautiful. Anyway, that's the end of my story, man. I feel like that was a definite 100% tangent, but
No, but that was
yeah.
honestly that was great, and I think it's like, and it goes back to what I was saying before. These are things that get missed. Like some people might look at you and be like, "Oh, you're doing so well," but there's so there's so much that you've gone. And bro, honestly, thanks for sharing because you really shared some vulnerable stuff there. But yeah, man, that's super powerful, and it's empowering, man. Like, isn't just that you can just go back and start again, and effectively from zero, and then now look at you now.
Bless, man,
Yeah.
bless. And I think in all that story, I forgot the point I was trying to make. Thank you, Kedge, for that beautiful reflection. For me,
Yeah,
it's like,
now you're saying just to link it all back. You're talking about that client that you had, and you're scared about having that conversation with his business partner, and what would be the worst that would happen, and and how every success story that you talk about, they've failed 3 times, and at least. So this is your version of it,
yeah,
man. So look forward to watching
yeah,
the
man.
documentary one day.
And for everyone listening, I just wanted to say, like, for me, that was the strength. The strength
Mm,
was that I could just sleep on the ground and I didn't need shit. Like, I mean, I had to learn it the hard way, right? But I'm just saying, like, now that is my certainty. That is my strength. If everything is taken away, like knowing that I can sleep on the ground, and I think that's a terribly liberating thing when you
mm.
can let go of. This is like an old philosophy, man. Like Henry David Thoreau and all those dudes. I was gonna say all those boys, like all those philosophers and shit. This is what they're talking about. Like if you can find security in just those real simple basics, I feel like you become indestructible. I think it's always spiritual, man.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah, nah. What is that? Tough times create great men. Great men create good times. So whatever. Something. Yeah.
yeah, beautifully said. Amen.
All
Anything else
right.
from you, Kedge, before we
Nah, man.
wrap
I
today?
think that's a really nice way to wrap things up, man. I think, yeah, if anyone that's now I'm just like, I didn't know, and I kind of know your story, but just to the extent, I think I only just sunk in then, that's bro, I'm impressed, bro.
Love
Yeah.
you, man. I'm
Yeah.
so happy I got to do this journey with you,
Yeah.
man. I mean it, man. All
Oof.
right. For everyone listening, so much love to you. Thank you for following along and listening. We really hope you enjoyed today's episode. That's it from me. Anything from you, Kedge, to wrap up?
Nah, honestly, I feel like I'd be crowding on top of your story if I tried to add anything else onto it. I think it was a really nice way to finish, and yeah, really hope everyone enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see you again next time. And wish you richness in all parts of your life, as we always say: financial, health, wellness, spirituality, and whatever else. Whatever.
Thank you. See
All
you
right.
next week, everyone.
All right.
Bye.